I stumbled down dark stairwells for what seemed like forever, until suddenly I found myself, wow! In an abandoned London Underground station. This place must have been closed down decades ago. It was an old chocolate vending machine. A flap covered the tray into which the machine dispensed chocolate bars. The tray was empty. It was a cup which caught rejected coins. The cup was empty. 1D only was embossed below the coin slot. Something protruded slightly from the slot. The slot was much too thin for my fingers. The blade was too thick for the narrow slot. I pushed the hair clip into the slot and whatever was stuck there disappeared into the machine. The machine needed to be fed a coin before it would operate. There was a copper coin in the cup. I pulled out an old English penny. It was an old ticket machine. A sign read, "Tickets 3D." It was an old English penny coin. On one side was Britannia, managing to look both virginal and matronly. On the other was the head of King George VI, looking much the same. The penny was too large to fit into the slot. A pile of old railway sleepers was blocking the platform. I'd probably break my neck if I climbed over the sleepers, or worse, a heel. It was a poster advertising holidays in Scotland. LBS. Lubes? What are lubes? The machine wasn't about to weigh me for nothing. The poster was advertising a play I'd never heard of. A latch lock stopped me getting into the cupboard. The blade of the dagger just fitted between the door and the soft wood frame. The door gave slightly and then held firm. A latch lock stopped me getting into the cupboard. My fingers were too big to reach into the tiny crack. The blade of the dagger was too thick to get into the narrow crack. The hair grip was too thick to fit into the crack. A small crack had appeared where the dagger had pried the door from its frame. Through the crack, I could just make out the latch which stopped the door from opening. There was nothing useful in the bag. It looked just like the modern one. It was an old map of the London Underground. It was the tunnel the train had come out of. It was too dangerous to start walking along the tracks. I remembered what always happened to Wile E. Coyote when he did that. The train signal light still worked. An ancient bar of chocolate dropped into the tray at the bottom of the machine. And as a special bonus, the penny dropped through to the reject bucket. I pulled out an old English penny. I took the ancient bar of chocolate. It was a very old bar of chocolate with a row of boys pictured on the wrapper. No. That isn't it at all. That was no good. The machine looked like it had sold its last ticket a long time ago. One bar of antique chocolate was more than enough for me. The ghost didn't seem threatening in any way. The tray was empty. The ghost obviously didn't want to talk. Perhaps it was shy. LBS. There was no point in going back up there. It might have been a nice souvenir if it hadn't been torn and dirty. Who the hell are you?
Joey, is that you?
Oh, I remember you now. Hey, listen, don't go near that hole.
Nobody tells Robert Foster what to do, lady.
You don't understand. I've played this game before. There's something horrible in that hole. Some beast with tentacles.
You're nuts.
They don't make animations like that anymore. The blade was too thick for the narrow slot. I didn't want to get the hair grip jammed in the slot. The penny was too large to fit into the slot. The poster was advertising a play I'd never heard of. The date on the poster was before I was born. It looked just like the modern one. It was the tunnel the train had come. It was a hair clip. The hair grip was... The blade of the dagger was too thick to get into the narrow crack. The machine wasn't about to weigh me for nothing. The machine needed to be fed a coin before it would operate. A pile of old railway sleepers was blocking the platform. I'd probably break my neck if I climbed over the sleepers, or worse, a heel. The ghost obviously didn't want to talk. A small crack had appeared where the dagger had pried the door from its frame. The blade of the dagger was too thick to get into the narrow crack. The hair grip was too thick to fit. It was a very old bar of chocolate with a... That won't do. That would... I put the old penny into the slot, the needle twitched rustily and the machine spat out a card. The weight was in imperial units. It meant nothing to me. The card also had my fortune on it. A family quarrel will turn out to your advantage. I remembered my student days when I regularly forgot my house keys. A wiggle with the thick card between the frame and the lock, and the latch lifted. If I closed the cupboard, the ticket might not open it again. The train was my ride out of there. I could worry about not having a ticket when I got to the docks.
A clump of reeds grew out of the stinking swamp. It was a stagnant swamp. Nothing, I mean nothing, would possess me to step into that swamp. It was a short, hollow reed. The end of the reed was too narrow for the dart to fit into. One reed was enough. The path was blocked by an ugly and extremely dangerous-looking boar. The boar's expression said, "Forget it, Stobart." It was a stout, overhanging branch. If I jumped, I could just about reach the branch. I couldn't get close enough to stick the dart in him. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Wrong. I'd seen it done in movies. The hero eludes his foe by hiding underwater, breathing through a hollow reed until it's safe to come out. I was glad I didn't have a foe to elude. There was something in that hole beneath the rock. As soon as I stooped to investigate the hole, its inhabitant disappeared into the darkness. The end of the reed had been neatly bitten off. Now I knew what was living in there. A long-toothed, snarling, furry wild thing. The dart fitted snugly into the reed. Great. I was tooled up and dangerous. The rock was partially overgrown by creepers. The creeper just came away from the rock as I pulled it. The creeper didn't look like it would hold my weight. No good. I'd have to be bitten by a radioactive spider before I stood any chance of getting up there. It was a needle of rock in the middle of the clearing. It didn't look like a natural formation. I remembered Ketch's log. For is it not writ that 'tis easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle? It seemed pretty relevant now. The creeper felt unpleasant and fleshy. I could see no point in tying the net to the creepers on the rock. The net attached easily enough to the creeper and seemed secure. Great. I'd created some sort of creeper marker fishing net assembly. Sometimes I terrify myself with my creative genius. I'd successfully got the marker into a position near the top of the needle simply by using the kind of lateral thinking that can get you institutionalized. It was Bronson's theodolite. Nope. It was Bronson's theodolite. It was a needle of... I'd better think this through. I wasn't about to try that again. I'm way too attached to my fingers. There was something in that hole beneath the rock. Ah. Huh? Hold on. I've been here before. Haven't I? Huh? Ah! Stay cool, Stobart. It was only a bird. What is this? The magic forest of deja vu or something? Initials had been carved into the rock. 3 shallow holes had been made in the rock. The hill I was on had reminded me of a camel's hump as I'd climbed up it. Now I had to see what I could see. It was a good cave for hiding treasure in. Shame about the flooding problem. There was an enormous cave. Every tourist for the last 3 centuries must have been in that one. Heck, Ketch could have hidden his treasure anywhere. This island's full of hiding places. A needle rock. Eye of the needle? It was the marker which I had raised up the needle of rock. I could see the marker I had fastened on the rock down in the forest, and right in line with it,